Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Wednesday Wisdom on the Educational AD Podcast. We're going to be right back with this week's Wednesday Wisdom guest, but as always, we're going to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. Now, these are companies I used as an athletic director. They're all great companies. They're also sponsors, but they are great companies. You should check them out. So take 3 minutes, listen to our shout outs, then listen to our Wednesday Wisdom guest, and then go and visit these sponsors. I'm telling you, you're going to be glad you did. We want to say thanks to Hometown for their support of the podcast. You know, Hometown is changing the game with their platform for digital ticketing. They're still the number one digital ticketing provider, but how about athletic website construction, fee-free fundraising, and a whole lot more? Whether you're an athletic director or principal, Hometown is going to show you how to save time, raise more money, and bring your community together. Go to hometown.com to get started. That's hometown.com. We also want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys. If you've never used a survey to take the pulse of your school, you're really missing out on a great resource. Athletic Surveys is going to create a custom survey that lets you connect with your student athletes, your coaches, and your parents. Go to athleticsurveys.com. Check out all the great things that they can do for you today. We also want to thank Gipper. Go to Gipper.com and let their team turn you into a social media marketing guru. Whether it's a simple social media post or an entire newsletter, the team at Gipper is going to have you up and running in no time. It's professional graphic design made easy. Go to Gipper.com to get started. And don't forget to mention the podcast. We want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive indoor score tables and video boards. You've heard me say before, probably one of the best purchases I ever made. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Schedule a live web demo today. Sidelineinteractive.com. We also want to thank Home Campus. Home Campus is a platform you're going to use every day, whether it's scheduling, rosters, results. Their clearance and eligibility platform alone is a game changer. Go to homecampus.com. That's it, homecampus.com to get started. We'd like to thank Ohio University and their online master's in athletic administration. Now, my assistant athletic director, along with thousands of others, got his master's through the Ohio program. And while they were completing their degree, they also completed 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Check out Ohio University and their online master's in athletic administration. We want to thank our good friends at Snap Mobile, particularly Snap Raise. Have you ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraiser and been disappointed in the results? Well, those days are gone. Go to snapraise.com. We used it at our school and had tremendous success, and so will you. Check out all of their other great platforms. But if you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it, and it's Snap Raise. We'd also like to thank Vital Signs Wall of Fame. If you're looking for a really cool way to show off your school record boards or your school's Hall of Fame, go to their website and take a look at their interactive touchscreen video consoles. You put one of their units in your gym lobby or your main school hallway, it's going to be a magnet for kids, for coaches. How about sponsors? Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. You're going to be very glad you did. And let's say thanks to Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years. As an AD, I made sure our school was a Huddle school. And our coaches, all of our coaches, just love the tools that Huddle provided. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users, and find out how to turn your school into a Huddle school. That's huddle.com. And as always, don't forget to mention the podcast. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. And we've got a longtime guest, but it's her first time presenting on this segment, which we like to call Wednesday Wisdom. Longtime listeners will certainly recognize the name Jayme Pendergast. She was a guest on the podcast a couple of years ago. I think her Toolbox suggestions were in the third edition of the Toolbox. She's come back, again, we really appreciate it, as a semi-regular on some different segments, Toolbox Extra, our special Tuesday segments. But today it's our first Wednesday Wisdom segment. If you're new to the podcast, Jayme is the Director of Athletics at Life University, that's in Georgia. Um, has a tremendous success background in leadership. She was recently selected as the NAIA Athletic Director of the Year. It seems like her teams are, at the national tournament, winning national championships. Her coaches are being selected as Coach of the Year. Obviously, she's got a great thing going. Jayme Pendergast, welcome back to the Educational AD Podcast.
Thanks, Jake. Happy to be back, and I always appreciate your content. So thank you.
Well, we appreciate you sharing with our listeners. Always some great stuff. For our listeners, we're recording this on October 8th, so it's going to be pretty timely when you listen to it. Um, I want to set this up properly. We are in the process of finalizing, I guess, the editing of our fourth Athletic Director Toolbox book. It's going to be coming out in November. One of Jayme's coaches, Ashley Flavin, very successful, women's wrestling coach for the program, was a guest. Her tools are going to be in that book. But as I was reviewing her interview to extract those tools, she made a comment about athletic directors and leadership. And she mentioned, well, Jayme is always saying, and I hope I'm going to say this right, exceptional judgment needs minimal control. And it was referring to, hey, you hire great coaches and you let them do their thing. Certainly you're there for oversight and resources and things like that, but it was the opposite of micromanaging and kind of hindering coaches from doing their thing. So I thought it'd be a great topic. So Jayme, I hope I didn't step all over that quote, but what can you share with our listeners today about that whole idea of exceptional judgment needs minimal control?
Yeah, I was telling you earlier, I would think probably about 80% of the coaches on my staff would be able to say the same thing. I say it so often, but it's not necessarily my idea. I got it a combination of a couple of things. One, the book No Rules. It's about the Netflix culture, really talks about it. And it's a framework for leadership and I guess organizationally, like right what your culture is. And it drives a couple really important things that are really important to performance and high performers as individuals, right? And the other book is Drive by Daniel Pink, where he talks about mastery, autonomy, and purpose is a huge motivator for high performers. So if you mesh those together, it's really about hiring great people that are high performers that are aligned, right? Because there has to be an alignment with the vision and the strategy. And as long as they're demonstrating exceptional judgment within the bumpers and aligned with the vision, that they really don't need many controls. So it's not spending your time caught up in, choke points or bottlenecks of slowing your high performers down. It's about letting them innovate and be creative and make their own decisions. And it's worked really well here. The coaches I have and the administrators, it's not just a coaching thing, but staff I have, like they thrive off that. We talk about it in the hiring process too. I don't want to hire somebody that needs micromanagement. It just doesn't fit in our system. But it's great because, creative, high performing, innovative, driven, hungry people are able to get so much more accomplished than if you got, one person trying to dictate how things are going to be handled. So that was kind of the genesis.
Yeah, again, thanks for sharing those books. I may ask you to share the title and the author again at the end of the podcast. Um, the books and the resources, certainly they are starting points, but just because you or me or one of our listeners has read the book, that doesn't mean all of a sudden it's going to be rainbows and butterflies. What are some things that you have taken from the book and then applied them at life to, again, you're hiring great people,
Yep.
but it's the old, one of my favorite books, Good to Great. How do you help them continue on their journey and become even better with the resources that you're able to provide for them?
Yeah, that's a great question, right? Because you can read things and not apply and that doesn't work. But the application, I think, starts with clarity, right? Because if you're asking for exceptional judgment, you need to show people like what is exceptional judgment though, right? So it's clarity in you have to be able to communicate this compelling vision, right? That people like understand and that motivate them. So for us, like we want to be leading institution in performance, meaningful student athlete experience. Staff knows internally what that means in more detail. So that clarity is, I think, the first level of application and just communicating it over and over. And then the second is, I think those daily, weekly, monthly reminders on either, that was great judgment, like keep it up and sharing that across the department so people understand, like, yep, this is what we want to see more on, or coaching, right? If we see something that's like, oof, this wasn't the best judgment, it really didn't align here, just because somebody makes a bad decision does not mean they don't have exceptional judgment, right? It just means like, oh, they're here, like, I mean, it's coaching, right? Like that's just something to correct and work on. Um, yeah, it's that clarity, and I think the reinforcement is the keys to that application. So people are constantly understanding like, yes, this is what exceptional judgment looks like within, our parameters. Here's what's okay, right? Right. Because even quote unquote failure is okay within this model, right? But it's just the failure that's a two-way door. Like it's a easy failure to recover from. Um, so it's that, and I don't mean to oversimplify it, but
Oh,
I
no.
think the more you can communicate with clarity what it is that you're asking for, and then the more you can reinforcement, I think it just inherently becomes clearer and clearer to everybody in the organization. For Ashley specifically, she wouldn't mind me sharing, like her performance deliverables are just really, really high. She understands what I'm looking for from a performance standpoint, for her and her team. And then because we are 100% aligned on that, like I trust her completely to make decisions that drive that performance.
Right. No, absolutely. And I love the way that you keep coming back to the communication component. This is how we roll at Life,
Yep.
and you mentioned it. It comes up in the hiring process too. Um, let's. I'm going to throw a curveball at you. Hopefully, it's not a knuckleball. Um, what do you do, or what have you done when, and I think you used the phrase, keeping it on the rails, when things might have gone off the rails? Here's the example that comes to mind. This weekend, Arizona Cardinals, national football team, player, he's running for a touchdown, and he lets go of the football just before he crosses the goal line at the 1 yard line. Obviously, he's upset. Although, as a football coach, we would hammer it to our kids, you know, score the touchdown, go out of the back of the end zone before you hand the ball to the referee. So the coach, visibly upset on the sideline, confronts the player. Some choice words were given,
Mhm.
and the coach is actually, you can see it on the video. He's, thumping on the player's chest, shoulder pads. It wasn't old school. I remember I had my face mask jerked about, 600 times as a high school football player. But obviously, it wasn't his best moment as a coach. And the coach later owned it, apologized. The club fined him $100,000. Uh,
Mhm.
the apology seems to have been, or not seems to be, it to me, seems sincere. It seems like the players and the clubhouse are taking it, and they're going to probably move on and be better for it. But that image, national TV,
Mhm.
that's not what we want to see in our program. Have you had something like that, similar, where you had to, let's say, coach your coaches in that area?
Yeah, I think maybe the closest uh, um, example, what might just be, it might be sideline decorum, right? And again, I have minimal issues with this because I think we're pretty clear from the get-go, what's wanted and required to be at Life U. But let's just say we're in soccer season, right? Right, the notorious like red, yellow cards. And so yeah, my coaches have gotten carded. And it's about getting, when it happens, it's the conversation about why, right? Like it's, if something was egregious and of poor taste and out of rage and immense emotion, that's not appropriate. My coaches know that. I'm not picking on my soccer coaches, it's any of them. And there'll probably be some consequence for that, outside of the NAIA consequence, which is
Mhm.
sitting out the next game. And I would just fully expect that they commit to that lesson and we don't have that problem again. In some cases, like a card sometimes actually makes sense. But right, it's you got to digest like what the context was. However, I'll say like in the past, like obviously those coaches aren't here anymore, but like if I sense that there was a mistake and then there was a teaching moment where we were trying to course correct and then it continues to happen, I that falls into what I call like apathy. Like what is just one of my pet peeves is apathy. So it's like if you're just not interested in trying to be here or trying to fit in with our system, like then you're just doesn't mean you're a bad person, doesn't mean you're a bad coach. It's just you don't fit here. And so yeah, again, mistakes are more than okay. We'll take every learning opportunity that we have, but we would expect a course correct and a mutual understanding of where we went wrong. And then 99 times out of 100, we don't see it again. But again, if you don't see that course correct, then there's just an apathy of wanting to fit into the system and what we expect, and then you're just probably not going to be here for very long.
Yeah. No, and that makes perfect sense. I remember the very few times I had that type of conversation with a coach, and sometimes with a player too, more frequently with a player.
Mhm.
Things happen. We never want to be judged solely on our worst moment.
Yep.
But if the coach, if they owned it, and you could see there was some remorse,
Mhm.
I would let them know, okay, this is our handbook. This is what we do. This is my interpretation, um, and we're going to move on. Now, if it happens again, we're going to have a different conversation, and that was always shared with them. That if this is a one-off, hey, that's fine. We
Yep.
all have our moments, but if it does happen again, we're going to have that different conversation. And I
Mhm.
love that your take on it. The apathy. They're not
Yeah.
just they're just not interested. It reminds me of. I shared this with you. One of my favorite cliches. That again, I didn't invent it. I stole it. Everything we see at our school, it's either coached or it's allowed. Okay,
Mhm.
well, neither one of it's acceptable. We're certainly not going to coach it. We're definitely not going to allow it.
Yep.
Um, let's look at your programs right now. Very, I mean, healthy, wins and losses, championships, numbers, etc. I think by any metric, Life University is having a very successful program. I'm going to throw that whole good to great phrase at you again. What are some things that you're doing, I guess, immediately and for the future to continue that trajectory? So, and again, I'm being extreme here. So apathy doesn't begin to apply in the Life University program.
Yeah, and for better or for worse, I know sometimes this gets to people and sometimes people love it and might be based on the situation the person's in. But we're like one of our valued behaviors is constant growth. And I really feel like that's what's gotten us to where we're at. And that's what allows us to continue to be successful is that yeah, what happened last year was great. And we'd love to see that again, but there's still ways to improve. I joke with Ashley, I'll just give her a hard time since you had talked with her, but like, I mean, I've joked with her. She had um, 10 All-Americans, which is crazy. You only have 12 qualifiers, and they won the national championship a couple months ago. And that's great. And so I just kind of laugh and I'm like, so how are you getting all 12 All-Americans? And she's like, got it. And she doesn't take offense to it.
Right.
And she knows like her job's not on the line if she does it. But it's that no matter how well things are going, if you're not constantly searching for still like, compounded marginal gains, like, that's just kind of the world we're in. And we know that the competition's coming at us fast. And there's still some schools out there that are doing great things that we're trying to chase down. And so I think it's just that mentality of I don't know, live on last year's success. We celebrate it and we love
Right.
it because those are the student athlete stories and it's about what they accomplished and kind of the legacy that they left here. So we're certainly proud of it, but we're always searching for ways to get better.
Okay. No, I love that. Again, hey, when are you going to get those 12 All-Americans?
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. I love giving her a hard time because women's wrestling actually won the national championship and our prestigious department GPA trophy in the same quarter, which is like unheard of. And I'm like, that is a really high bar you've just set. But I was like, I think you can do better. And I just kind of laugh.
Now, this just popped into my head. Now, Life University, Ashley's program, your program, you've had at least one, I think, um, uh, member of the wrestling team go on to one of the professional circuits. Isn't that right?
Yeah. Yeah. We have one in the WWE right now.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
that's
Peyton Preston is a legend here. I mean, she was undefeated her entire career, won 3 national championships, and now she has a career in the WWE, which is really cool.
okay. That's my next favor. I'm asking this on air. You need to connect the two of us so I can get her on the podcast. Okay.
I'll try.
All right. I'm going to get you out of here with this one. Another curveball. NIL. Is that a thing at Life University? I'm not asking for, names and numbers and things like that, but do you have any NIL student athletes at Life?
Yeah, we do. It just looks different here, right? It's probably NIL in the purest form. Honestly, it's probably what was truly, meant when NIL came about. Um, A lot of our student athletes with strong social media followings will do a lot of collaborations with small businesses, right? Very few of them are in exchange for cash. Most of them are gift in kind, but they go through the process of reporting it, and we have them cataloged so we know what's going on, and our student athletes can enjoy the benefits of NIL. Our men's lacrosse All-American. Got to deal with a lacrosse company and they're printing some shirts with his NIL on it and that's just really cool. And so we have a good amount of examples of that. There's a few that have earned cash, but that's just kind of the exception at this level. It's more about those small deals. But I think NIL is great as it was intended to be, and I think it's grown beyond what the intent was. Um, but for us, it's just more of how do we support the student athletes that are trying to brand themselves. It's not what it is at, the Power Four level.
Right. No, I appreciate you sharing that. I guess one more, and I promise this will be the last question. Is this just one more thing that falls on your desk or your assistant AD? Do you have a dedicated, NIL coordinator at Life, or how does all that work? Or are the kids just doing it on their own?
Yeah, well, we can't technically
Right.
facilitate the deals for them anyway. But yeah, I mean, it just falls on my plate again. It's not a ton of work. There's a lot of great NIL facilitators out there that work with institutions on, I guess, facilitating that more smoothly. We haven't chosen to engage in that yet, just because we have a pretty clean internal system of reporting that seems to work. But yeah, I mean, it comes to me, and if I have any questions or if the contract or the terms weren't in the form, then I ask for them, and most of the time everything's good, and then I tell the student it's approved. I copy their coach, and we are all kind of in the know, and in case we get questioned about it. Um, but yeah, it's by far not the most burdensome thing on my plate right now.
Okay. You're not pulling your hair out. Oh no, it's more NIL. Yeah.
No, no, not at all.
Well, talking about questions, if one of our listeners wanted to reach out, pick your brain a little bit on leadership or just anything, even NIL, what's the best way that they can get a hold of Jayme Pendergast?
Email's probably the best way, jayme.pendergast@life.edu. You'd have to check the spelling. It's a little bit off, Jayme, um, but yeah, I'm always happy to help. I'm in this profession to help others. And so, and I ask for a lot of help from other people much, much wiser than I am. But I think following Life U Athletics on Instagram or X, is awesome because we have a lot of student athletes doing a lot of great things. And I can't brag about them enough. They continue to, inspire me every day and makes going to work fun and meaningful.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Jayme does a real good job on social media and promoting all things Life University. Well, Jayme, thanks again for sharing with our listeners. All the best for continued success in the fall and those winter sports. Hopefully, we'll see you at the NAIA Nationals. I'm going to try to get there now because I'll have two friends there.
Yeah, hopefully
Um,
I'll see you there.
okay. And we want to say thanks to our listeners and remind them that we upload the Zoom recordings of every interview to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do Wednesday Wisdom just about every week and just about every day. We try to share stories and best practices from the world of athletics. So please join us again for the next episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time. If I Yeah, don't forget to reach out to Jayme Pendergast, Life University Athletic Director. Great resource. Speaking of great resources, let's say thanks one more time to all of our great sponsors. I want to thank Hometown. Go to hometown.com. Home Campus, it's a platform you're going to use every day. Go to homecampus.com. Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Sideline Interactive, probably the best purchase I ever made was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Gipper, become a social media marketing guru. That's gipper.com. Snap Raise, if you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it. Go to snapraise.com. Vital Signs Wall of Fame, go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Huddle, I used it as a football coach. As an AD, we were a Huddle school. Go to huddle.com. And let's say thanks to Athletic Surveys. Go to athleticsurveys.com. Thanks again for listening to this segment of Wednesday Wisdom. We'll see you next time on the Educational AD Podcast.